Well, welcome to Spitting the Bit. We're doing something a little bit new. My wife and daughter, who are big fans of ours, said we don't understand like a lot of things you guys say because while you guys talking horse racing ease or whatever. And I said, all right,
Well, and
is
I
it?
don't think that that's just exclusive to horse race stuff.
Yeah, that could be true. They don't understand half the things we say when we're not
No,
talking horse
might
racing.
have been a bit more of a blanket statement. That being said,
That being said,
this falls under that blanket.
yeah, so we decided that we're gonna do some terms, a little bit of educational and stuff on horse racing. And the first one we're gonna start with is betting terms. And uh, let's cut to the chase. Everybody loves going to the races. The races are so much fun. The atmosphere, the fashion, the horses, but the linchpin that holds it all together is the betting. And the more you know, the more options you have, the more fun. Now you should never bet to get rich quick. It's a recreational activity. It's fun. Bet only what you can lose, but it's a lot more fun to win. So we're going to go over some betting terms, just so when you hear them or we say them or anybody else, or you go to the races, you're a little more informed. If you're a expert handicapper, stick around, and listen to what we have to say. Maybe correct us if we're wrong, or um,
Absolutely.
yeah, or let us know that we're right on the money, or who knows, maybe we'll have a little bit different take on something that you'll find interesting. So this isn't just for the
Or,
beginners.
put some comments in
Yeah,
there and we'll look at them and try and answer at a different time.
yeah, we love comments, and yeah. With that said, hey, like and subscribe to our podcast, to our channels. All right. So
Please
uh,
do.
obviously the bread and butter of all betting are the win place show bets. So first you have the win bet. It's the horse comes in first. You bet to win. The horse has to come in first. Horse wins, you win. Um, it's the biggest of the payoffs. It's
By far.
probably, yeah, the $2 win bet is the traditional. There's some people, some horse fans who I think go and they have a tradition of making a $2 win bet to start their day off because that's the bet. Um,
And the biggest payoff for sure. Um, get the best odds or best rate of return always.
yeah, when I'm a
Um,
little low on cash and I can't afford to lose much, I just go to win bets because yeah, that's where you're going to win and you're not going to lose a lot. You could bet 10 races, bet $2 to win on all 10. It's $20. It's pretty.
and everything that we'll talk about after the win bet too, the better you get at focusing on picking winners, the better you're going to do with other type of bets as well. It's what you need to be focusing on, who's going to win the race.
Yep. Yep.
We
Good.
should point out um, too on the start that one of the things that's unique to horse racing, um, and maybe from the win bet we should switch to the morning line and go from there. Um, let's talk about the morning line and then let's just go into odds and how it's so much different than any of the other forms of gambling really
Yeah.
that are out there outside of playing poker at a casino.
Good call. The definition of morning line is the starting odds set by the track handicapper, a person hired by the track to analyze each race and determine which horse will be favored by the public to win. So yeah, you get a
Right.
starting point that and the track expert puts out there early, and that's public knowledge. Everybody gets to work off that.
And they're not always right would be the wrong term, but it's more common that when the race goes off and by going off, once the horses leave the starting gate up until right before they open up the gate, the parimutuel wagering across the country, and it's not just the track you're at, is
Yep.
coming in from all over the
All over.
world. Um, and it will, those odds of your horse are changing constantly once they open the wagering to the public. Prior to that, it's the morning line, and that's what you'll see, but then it adjusts. So
Yeah.
that's my segue into what's unique about horse racing. And I would argue, most people would argue, why it is really a lot more fun and rewarding than pulling a slot at a casino. Nobody's controlling the odds, but fellow human beings that are wagering on your race.
Yeah, or even betting on sports at Vegas is different because here's the definition of parimutuel betting: system of wagering where all the money is returned to the bettors after deduction of the race and state percentages. So
Right.
they take their, as they call it, called referred to as juice. They take their little bit a portion, so the tracks have to make some money, but then all the money goes out to the people who bet on the horses that won. And it, like you said, it changes up to the the last second till that gate opens. You can bet,
Literally.
and yeah, and yeah, with, let's say I bet on the playoff game for football, I can make a bet at Caesars at 7 point spread. They're favored by 7, and by the game goes off, and now it's a 3 point spread. They can change those odds on me. Um, in those,
And they're taking, and they're setting that spread too.
yes,
Um, and there's the rub and the trick, and obviously um, the frustration for people that are gambling. Whereas in horse racing, you are literally playing other human beings. If you think um, the third best horse, and by that I mean the horse that has the third most money on it, according to the public, if you think that's the best bet, you're sitting, and you end up being right, you're sitting really good because your
yeah,
odds are going to be um, easy to make a good return on it,
yeah,
because you're betting against other human beings. They
yep.
either agree with you or disagree with you, and the more people that disagree, the better odds you get.
The more money you'll make because
The
all that money
favorite
gets
will
paid out.
be, yep, the favorite is simply who has the most money on it to win.
Very good. So we covered the idea of the morning line and betting. We covered the win. The other two of the most common ones are place and show. Place would be if your horse comes in first or second, you win. Now you're not going to win as much as if you just committed to a win bet, but you'll win something. And then show is if your horse comes in first, second, or third, you are going to win. Again, based on how much money was bet on that horse to show or to place, that's what gets paid out, and it's far less than the win bet, but you're more likely to win because, hey, finish first, second, or third. um it's my wife's favorite bet. She likes to play this because you and I can go to a track and watch 10 races and bet on every single one of them and only win 2 and walk away big winners, and we're good with that. Blanca would just as soon not be a big winner, but win 8 of those 10 races and win a small amount. And she just gets frustrated with, um, losing 4 races in a row. And,
Oh yeah, if
she,
you're only
her,
playing winners and you have 6 races in a row where they finish in the money but don't win, that's that's frustrating. It's
yeah,
hard to stick by your guns, and
yeah,
you know,
she
but
likes winning. And so show bets, you win. And maybe you don't win as much, but you win.
one of
Um,
the questions people ask me that when they first go to the races, or even if they're just watching the Derby on TV and they put the results up after the race, they don't understand what it means. They'll have the winner on the top and 3 numbers behind it, and the second place horse, and there's only 2 numbers behind it, and the third place horse, and there's only 1 number behind it. The horse that wins is going to have 3 numbers behind it. The first number behind it payout is the win payout. Then the second number behind that number, or to the right of that number, is the place bet payout, and the third number is the show bet payout. And all
Mhm.
of those numbers of return are based on if you had done a $2 bet
Yeah.
on the win, $2 bet on the place, $2 on the show. So if it says 643, it means you won $6 on a $2 win bet, $4 on a place bet, and $3 on a show bet.
Here's some terms though I want to share. Um, so if you have on the nose, that's a term for to win. It's another. On the board means first, second, or third. If your horse hit the board or they're on the board, um, in the money, top three finishes. So when you hear
Right.
on the nose, it means it refers to win, um, on the board, and in the money, top three. Another bet, I don't usually bet it. Every once in a while I will, is it's called across the board, which if you
Mm-hmm.
really like a horse, you bet on, let's say I like Kazazi, the 5 horse. I bet the 5 horse across the board. That means five or whatever, $2 to win, $2 to place, $2 to show you. You do all three of the bets. Um,
Yep.
kind of kind of an insurance policy in case it doesn't. You don't do
Yeah,
across the board very often, do you? You do some.
I don't. I've had some really fun ones though. I had to file taxes on a $2 across the board wager
What?
once, and it was yeah, but it was awesome. I was it was back. I can't remember when the Daily Racing Form got away from printing the whole history of a horse, of its past performances. I think now they only do 10. Brisnet only does up to 10 of their past races. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But there was a time where if you're playing claiming races at a track, especially some of the lesser tracks where claiming's a big deal, like Delta Downs was where
Hmm.
this bet took place. There's like 25 races for this horse, and you could see the whole history. And it was just this quagmire in Louisiana. Delta Downs is a smaller track in Louisiana. And this horse had done nothing all year, but its last time it had run in the mud had taken this huge leap up, performed much better than expected, and had won the race. And it was like a year ago, same distance, same conditions. Um, but I didn't realize that until they were going into the gate. Like I had my normal bets, and I was just looking through stuff and said, "Oh, I'm gonna throw $2 across on this horse quick," and did, and he went off at over 100 to 1.
Nice.
I know, and is that moment of, oh, why didn't I accidentally hit 20?
Yeah.
Throw $60
Yeah, we get greedy. Like I won all this money,
Yeah.
but what if I would have won more? Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of my favorite, just stupid moments of seeing this on the Daily Racing Form, which you can't see anymore because it was only because they had so many races on there, and I was trying to look at um, who who's a good mutter, who runs well in the slop.
Yeah,
But
which we'll get
anyways,
to in one of our
it
other
does happen.
episodes when we talk about handicapping. We'll talk about mudders. So
And
it,
generally, I try not to do that because of the rate of return uh, drops so fast going from the win to place to show.
yeah,
And it over the long haul, if you are doing that, it's much
yeah.
harder to stay up
You would have
because
won more money
you
had
have
you
to be
bet.
right almost all the time.
Yeah, and you if
Oh,
instead of win
if
play
I
show,
just
you would have
said
$5 to win instead of
right,
two,
if I
two, and
put
two.
that $6 on it to win, I would have
You a
won
lot more.
2 times more, maybe even 2.5 times more than I
Yeah.
actually did.
So, all right. So, anything other than a win place show, when you do combinations where horses can come in, you're saying this horse will come in first or second or so on, those are referred to as exotics. All right. So, when you hear us talk about, the exotics, or put that in an exotic, that means you're combining, doing a combination of horses. The most common one is the exacta. You're picking horses that are coming in first and second. You have to
Yep.
have, horse coming in first, horse coming in second. The other term we use a lot is boxing them. Okay, so you're going to really, in essence, you're doubling your bet. You're betting on the horse coming first or second, and you're like, ooh, what if they flip flop? So you have both. So you pay twice as much, but you have them covered if the one you have, let's say you have the one and the two, one coming in first, two coming in second. If you box it, you'll also get the two coming in first and the one coming in second. Um,
Right.
do you remember I haven't heard it said very much, and I don't know why it ever was said, but Quinella, you could bet a
Yeah,
Quinella, and
and
yeah,
some tracks still have it. Do you want to talk about the difference between that term and exacta?
sure, because yeah, I mean, from my understanding, Quinella is just a $1 box on them, and I think they used to have the Quinella because you couldn't do a $1 exacta back in the old days. It was always a $2. Now you can bet a $1 exacta.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you're right. Again, that would be something people could put in the comments if they
Yeah,
know
because
a little
I
more
have
detail on when it switched. And
yeah, I have the
but yeah, it
definition
was
of,
a
but
a lot of tracks too when they do their especially the East Coast tracks or the older longer standing tracks will still put the results based on $2 exactas.
mm, mm,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
you have to do the math if you only did a dollar exact that it's half of what
yeah,
they're putting forward.
yeah, that'd be a good little history lesson for me. Find it became common that you'd have a $1, you were able to do a $1 exacta.
Because
Um,
certainly when you first started taking me to um, Canterbury, Canterbury Downs, it was called back then, right? Yeah.
mhm, yeah,
It was Quinella
yeah, because that
if
was
you wanted to do a dollar box.
yeah, so it's a little bit less expensive. The other one is the trifecta. Trifecta gets a little tougher, but pays off much better. You're picking first, second, and third. It's a lot harder than you think. But again, it pays off really well. But man, the amount of trifectas I've had where I got the first, I got the second, I got the fourth.
And the longer I do this, the less I try to play them. Um, and outside of big time races where there's a lot at stake to still finish third, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, because and maybe a thing related to first, second, third in the betting is the knowledge that how the jockeys, trainers get paid out uh, for their performance in any given race, which impacts specifically, I would argue, the trifecta a lot. Um, so if the payout for a race is $100,000, do you want to talk about how much the first place horse is going to get, how much
Sure.
second place horse is going to get, and how much the third place horse is going to get?
Well,
Because it really impacts
and
how
fourth and fifth,
yeah,
they
true,
get paid, but man, it drops a lot.
a ton.
Yeah, yeah, from first to second to third.
So how
And
much do I get in that if I win? If I'm the jockey, but not well. I mean, how much does the winning horse get of that 100,000?
am I correct in saying 60%?
Correct. Yes. 60, 20, 10. So it's a hard bet a lot of the times because I would argue there's a lot more luck on who's going to come in third than there is on who's going to come in first and second in regards to predicting and understanding performance.
Now, because it's a little bit harder, you can do most tracks allow 50 cent minimum on
Mm-hmm.
that race. So you can put more horses in there for less. And then man, we won't even go into the superfecta is top four. And it's so hard
Right.
that they have 10-cent superfecta. You can make a 10-cent bet. Um, and it's fun to see the superfecta and the superfecta payouts sometimes on a 10-cent bet, but I rarely do a superfecta because it's just so hard.
It's hard. And sometimes I'll do it if it's a big field and I can look at my top six and there's no real agreement on who the favorite is by the public, and so you have good odds on a lot of those horses. Sometimes I'll just throw one out there
Mm-hmm.
um, and hope that the long shots come in first and second. But otherwise, the only other time that I go after it earnestly is the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, there's so many horses, so much fun. Now here's a bet you make a lot, or a term that you use a lot. You like having a key horse. Because when you do
Yep.
these exactas and you don't have to just bet on two horses. You can bet on, like, my most common bet that I make is I'll do an exacta, but I'll put three horses and I'll box them. These three horses, any two of them can come in. Or if I do a try, I'll have three horses and or four horses in that and any three. So, but you do a lot of keen a horse where you like a horse a lot, and you'll
Right.
you'll make your bets off of that horse. Describe how you use a key horse to make some money.
Yeah, and I mean, I won't bore people with the any kind of definition outside of who is the horse that you feel has the best chance, regardless of things that might go wrong, to finish first or second.
Hmm.
That's the first highest, most what I'm looking at when I'm quote unquote handicapping a race. That's what I'm trying to figure out first. And then so my first bet is going to be that horse to win.
Yeah, and
Um,
and then you do
but
what
then
they.
I'll include that horse. So a key horse thing would be, I will also do an exacta where I have that horse on top, and then my my next four, the horses I think are the four best horses after that underneath it. Um, and I rarely do a place bet. I take that money that I would potentially put on a place bet and flip flop that key horse exacta, where I'll put my key horse um, in second and those other horses on top.
Okay. And so that's the term that's used is if you have like a key horse, you can do what you did where you put a bunch of horses with it. It's called wheeling. If you do all of the other horses, that's a wheel. If you do a handful of horses, which you usually do, you don't usually do all of them, but you do a lot of them you like. That's referred to as a partial wheel. So yeah, you'll bet an exacta, but you'll have a horse you like a lot. You'll have him on top with a bunch on the bottom, for second. You'll put him second. And I've seen you make a lot of money on that one, where you have your key horse and um,
Yeah.
you have a variety of
And
things.
it's because you're not going to make a lot of money on the place bet. I mean, you are, but it's far less than the win bet. So, yeah, over time, I just got to the point where if I actually believe this horse is the most likely horse to win, well, there's things that happen, and he stubs its toe or whatever, finishes second. I just take that money that I would have put on a place bet and put it into exacta, where that my horse is in second, and the other
Well,
horses I think that have a chance on top
well, and that's kind of
to
where
win.
you make good money on that, because if you have a key
Mhm.
horse, chances are it's a really good horse. Chances are a lot of people like us. The odds are pretty low. So I've seen you have a 20 25 to 1 horse win, and then your key
Yep.
horse come in second, and that's where you make some good money, because that
Yep.
horse that was a little longer shot that you kind of liked, but and you liked enough to put money on, ended up winning.
Right,
Um,
because it's most often because everybody's looking at the same information. So you know, if it's 10 horse field, it's pretty rare that the horse I think is gonna win is not in the top three according to the betting public.
yeah,
So yeah, you're right. The ideal situation for me is the horse I believe in is going up at 3 to 1, and I have these other four horses, and a couple of those are double digits, and one of those actually wins, and my horse comes in second. I probably am going to make the most money on how I
yeah,
normally gamble.
yeah. I kind of root for that, actually. All right.
Yep.
A bet we don't make very often, because I think it's very difficult, but we want you to be informed about it, is the double. Daily double used to be just the first two races, but now they have doubles where you can bet on back-to-back races and you pick the winner and
Yep.
that. Pick three races. That's tough. Pick four. You got to pick four, and then the almighty pick six that pays a huge amount.
There's pick
People
five.
chase.
I've made good money on a pick five. Um, yeah, but they're maddening.
And
Oh,
the
oh, they're
chances of
maddening.
you picking one horse on well, the daily double or the double, you might be able to, but three, it's hard if you only pick one. It's a cheap bet and you get three races, but
It's
that's
hard.
tough. So you usually pick like some multiple horses in the race for that. Um,
What's fun and worth mentioning, I think, for the gambler, and I've done this with coworkers, other people will pool money for
oh yeah,
Powerball and all that. But when you're, if you're mindful of a specific track, they'll roll over their pools in pick sixes at Santa Anita, Gulfstream. And like it varies, but sometimes it's if there's $100,000 bet on pick sixes for the day,
yeah,
and more than one person wins it, half that money rolls over to the next day.
yeah,
But at the end of meets, they'll have mandatory payouts.
yeah,
So that can be $6 million in the pick six, and you split that money with anyone else who has the winning ticket. So I've done that where I take, coworkers throw in $10, $50, $100, and we go after the end of a meet pick six that's in the millions
that they
and
have
get
to pay
aggressive.
out. Sometimes it pays out at 5, sometimes at 4. But they have to pay it out
Mhm.
that day. So,
Right.
one last thing. We're running out of time here. One last thing. The term chalk. We talk chalky. That means that you're betting
Sure.
on the favorite. You're going with the horse that everybody likes. That the odds are going to be low. It's chalky, and I love the history of this term because back in the old days,
Teach me. I don't know the history of it.
the bookies used to when they took in bets back in the old days. They used to have a literal chalkboard, and they'd put little dashes on who bet on what horse, and so that was the one that had the most dashes had the most chalk. So it's referred to
Okay.
as chalky. So we say that all the time, like, I don't. The horse I
Very
like is
chalky.
so chalky, meaning it's the favorite. It's not going to get very good odds. So,
And not make you very good money on the payout.
yeah, there are times that we would like a horse, but we won't bet on it because the odds are so bad that it's not worth risking. You know, if it's under 1 to 1, two to one or better, I always go for it. But if it gets below 2, it's below 1, I have to do the exotics to try to make some money off of that horse.
And it does work. I mean, that year that Torpedo Anna 2 years back of the Breeders' Cup.
Well,
But you have to be really confident who else you think is going to finish with that
yeah,
jockey horse and
yeah.
put all your money on that.
Yeah, I'm still amazed you
But I
made
made,
money off her. Yeah, on that race.
yeah, I don't know how many, but I think the rate of return was like 50%. So,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Anyways, won't bore people with that, but
yeah,
it can be done, but you're not, the rate of returns can be limited.
terrific. Well, hey, I hope this was helpful.
But
Per
any
com,
questions in?
yeah, per anything we missed, anything you want to know. We're going to do more of these. We're going to do handicapping and just terms at the races and equipment, and so watch for these. And again, hopefully it was helpful.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey,
Any
Kev, thank
questions
you
you have, we'll
for
expand.
yeah, thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, and next weekend,
Yep.
LeCompte.
What horses racing next weekend?
I know, I'm so excited. I'm going to put a plug out there. I don't know. I've never even put this plug out for you, I don't think, but it always gets me in the mood because I live in Minnesota. You live in a nice climate. One of the things I love about horse racing is playing tracks in warm weather. And we've talked about, love my affinity for New Orleans, but I put on WWOZ, stream WWOZ. It's public radio station in New Orleans, and awesome, especially Sunday mornings.
All right.
Take my advice. They're amazing.
All right, we'll do. Sounds like
all right. You guys have a great week, and we'll reconnect on what we think the qualifying races look like for this coming weekend.
Beautiful. All right. Have a good one.